Silver core. Silver core.
Silver core!
Fuck yeah!
Coming again to fuck the motherfucking up, yeah, Silver core!
Fuck yeah!
Getting caught is the only way, yeah.
Duro, now your day is through. 'Cause now you have to answer to Silver core!
Fuck yeah!
So lick my butt and suck on my ball, Silver core!
Fuck yeah!
What you gonna do now? We're all in jail now!
All right, and 3, 2. Fuck yeah!
Wow. That was a good rendition, though.
Yeah, you think those guys are hiring?
I mean,
They got a
there's
couple
positions
openings right
open
now.
So, I mean, probably.
So, hey, guys, shitheads, Shots Fired episode 41. And we just did 40 yesterday. Seems like yesterday.
That was fast.
Yeah. But, you know, the good Lord keeps giving, right? So
That's one way to look at this.
So this Shots Fired is all about the Venezuelan.
Shots not fired.
Well, there was shots fired, evidently,
yeah.
at them. I mean, they might have engaged somehow. 6 were killed. 13 were taken into custody. Out of a total 60-man invasion force, there's 41 dudes unaccounted for. Not sure if they swam back to Colombia or what. But the story is, it's amazing. It's straight cocaine cowboy
Oh, my
shit.
God. So, I'm going to drop a bomb here, but you haven't seen The Office. But in The Office, Michael Scott is working on producing a movie that the staff finds out he's hidden but been working on for years called Threat Level Midnight.
Okay.
This is literally that. Anybody who's seen The Office will agree. This is literally Threat Level Midnight. This is horrible.
So we're going to break it down for you. I'm sure some of you have heard about this. We've done as best as we can to study everything that everybody knows up until this point about this attempted coup d'etat and capture of the current but not actual president of Venezuela, Maduro.
Yeah.
The story goes that Silvercore, a contracting security company out of Miami, who in the past, the liberals are fucking having a field day with the fact that in the past, these guys did security for a Trump rally in Florida. Jordan Goodrow, a 43-year-old Special Forces veteran. In other words, he was a group guy, Green Beret. He runs this company on the Florida Space Coast, and he put together this plan of action without any help from the Colombians, without any help reportedly from the Americans. And I believe that. I mean, you can tell there's literally no fucking – the only people that he might have – from the way this turned out, the only federal agency that he could have possibly conspired with would be the ATF.
With cooperation and reduced sentence in exchange from Joe Exotic.
You said that. You said this is if Joe Exotic ran an operation, this would be it, although it probably would have been more successful. So I want to start out by saying we are not here to slam the 2 Green Berets that are currently in custody in Venezuela.
No.
They are in a super shit situation.
Yeah.
They got themselves there, but they got themselves there because they were hired by, they accepted jobs, they accepted a contracted work from this dipshit Jordan at Silvercore. He's the one that is ultimately responsible for this fiasco. And let's
just see him after this. After all this came out, I will never financially recover from this.
So the story goes that back in December, these guys, Jordan with Silvercorp, made contact with representatives of the actual president of Venezuela, the one that was usurped by Maduro,
ousted leader.
ousted by Maduro, and that they were meeting with a representative of his organization This is President Juan Guaido, something
Sure,
like that.
we'll go with that.
And so there's a guy named Rendon, and Rendon is a dude in Miami that is an ousted Venezuelan that's sympathetic to the ousted president Juan Guaido. And they paid Silvercorp a $1.5 million retainer to put together this plan of action. The plan was to basically invade Caracas, right, and to start a coup, to kidnap President Maduro and bring him back to the States. And there's reasons they wanted to do that financially. And the two Green Berets that are currently captured and in custody, Luke and Denton, I think.
I think so.
Those two dudes, their job, reportedly out of their own mouth, their job is going to be to secure the airport or an airport for to bring in more forces. So two boats with 30 dudes in each boat, armed with. They said they had 14 Glocks that were seized, that were found, shitloads of AR-15s, a couple 240 Bravos, and you're gonna love this part, shitloads of Beta Mags, 100-round Beta Mag drums.
That's how we know this was a covert CIA op that just went bad. Was nobody else would use.
No actual Green
No.
Beret worth his salt
No.
would use would train indigenous
So we know this is
forces
a false flag.
to attack a nation using 100-round Beta Mags because they are the most unreliable thing on Earth.
Next, you're gonna tell me their sidearms were fucking high points,
They said there were 14 Glocks. I didn't see anything about high points.
and you're leaving something off the count.
Go ahead, Alex. I don't want to steal your glory. What was the other thing they found?
An airsoft rifle.
An airsoft rifle. Now, we have a theory as to why an airsoft rifle was brought along on a 60-man assault force.
I'm pretty sure this is accurate too. Everybody has a Carl.
Right, Carl?
Carl, on the way to the op, probably had a negligent discharge. And I mean, I can hear it now. Look, ass hat, you fucked this up. You're not gonna fuck this up again. So you gotta have something. We can't have you rolling unarmed, but you're not getting a gun. So we got you this.
That's the only explanation that makes
It
sense,
makes
is that
sense.
one of the guys on this assault team was such a retard that they gave him a fucking airsoft gun because they didn't trust him with a real one.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see them having airsoft guns in Colombia for training,
Yeah.
but why would you bring
bring
it
it on
on
the
the
op?
op? Let's talk about their radios.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
Let's talk about their radios. They had some comms with them.
Yeah, if you want to call it that. CB radios out of a vehicle. Unencrypted.
Unencrypted CB radios, and they're out there talking to each other on the ocean
Oh, not
coming
just
into
that.
Caracas.
They might have also this can't be real life. They also made tweets about the raid as they're conducting the raid.
Well, some people say it was Jordan back in Miami. Actually, he was in Colombia at the time, probably doing blow and hookers, because
As
he
one
was too
would.
much. He was too much of a pussy to go on the op. So Jordan, or possibly one of the guys on the boat, probably not though, made the tweet, and the entire Twitter account has been taken down.
We out here though.
Yeah, we out here, though. He tweets, and I don't remember the exact wording, but something like an assault on Venezuela is underway, and tags President Trump. Somehow,
You tag Maduro while you're at it.
well, that's funny because supposedly there was an announcement on Venezuelan national TV that the raid was going to happen before it happened. I found that out on a phone call moments before the podcast started with one of my buddies who was a group guy ODA for a long, long time. You know, yeah. So it was announced that they were coming. They tweeted it in that they were coming, and on their way in. So a lot of people are making fun of them because this was a day op, like a daylight op. That is a misnomer. That's not true. The op was supposed to be a pre-dawn raid. All right.
Well, why wasn't it, TJ?
Well, it
What
wasn't.
happened?
It wasn't a pre-dawn raid because one of the two boats that they were coming in on broke down, had engine trouble, reportedly. And so one of the boats turned, according to reports, turned and aborted the mission, and the other boat continued. That boat that aborted had our two military veterans on board, and that boat tried to make landfall somewhere else and ran out of gas. So they were literally so when you dig deep in this, the original engagement with Venezuelan Coast Guard or military that killed reportedly 8, but now they've revised that number to 6 combatants, that originally happened on Sunday. It wasn't until Monday when the 13 others were taken into custody, including the 2 Americans. Because why? They were out in the middle of the Venezuelan oceans, the Atlantic, just the Caribbean, just floating around with no gas because they didn't bring enough gas to handle their mission.
Proper prior planning prevents piss-poor performance.
That is correct. The Green Beret, I'm going to leave nameless, long-time Green Beret, very, very, very respected dude.
Done some shit.
He had a few things to say. He said that and it's obvious, but it was good hearing it from him. They violated every single rule of unconventional warfare. They violated every single rule of OPSEC.
Yeah.
He told me that the 2 dudes that were in custody, or at least the one that was a Green Beret, was only in the military for 5 years. Now that guy, have you seen the video of him being interviewed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, he never made it to SEER school.
So part of me wonders, they have this thing called, and I think I have the terminology right. I was Marine Corps for anybody watching, so I'm not super familiar with this, HUA shit. But I think it's Starlight Ranger is what it's called. And it's somebody who's gone through the schools and stuff but never actually deployed or done anything.
But these guys had deployed twice.
Oh.
Yeah, with 10th Group. They were 10th Group. And according to my buddy, he contacted 10th Group, who pretty much said that that all they had was basic training, the Q course, and a couple years of service. They were not with the groups very long. So they were not, and these guys are almost older than you, younger than me, 41-year-old dudes. They, evidently were active in Iraq or Afghanistan in like 2006, 2012. And there's more information about that out there. We'll find out. But what we were told about Jordan is probably the biggest tell. According to the group dudes that we talked to, Jordan was a discipline problem, an egotistical, maniacal person that thought he could take over the world by himself.
Prove that wrong.
That's how he, yeah, right?
So it's a shitbag is what we're talking about. He was, and yes, believe it or not, we've talked to SF of every branch, and unfortunately, in everything, even at high levels of CAG, SEAL Team, and Green Berets, ODA, everything, shitbags still occasionally get through. It happens. It doesn't matter what branch you're in, what unit, how specialized forces you're in. There's still shitbags that slip through the cracks.
You think if these guys get out, they'll write a book like a SEAL, and maybe they'll call it Gay of Pigs? You said I couldn't call the podcast that. You didn't say I couldn't say it.
It's true. True story.
We had that discussion earlier. Can't call the podcast Gay of Pigs, but we can call it Bay of Fucktards.
That is, wow, extremely accurate.
Liberal media is they love comparing this to Bay of Pigs, And man, if the government was involved in any way, which I'm sure they weren't, but don't you think after this many years of failed attempts at trying to overthrow South American leaders that we'd start to actually get more effective at this?
No. This is the government.
So this all boils down to greed, right? You have, on one hand, the Venezuelan president that's been ousted sending a representative, reportedly, according to Jordan, who claims that this Guaidó, or whatever his name is, the president's signatures on the contract. They were trying to fund this operation to go into Colombia and trained Venezuelan. These were Venezuelan military guys that had defected. So Venezuelan military dudes defected to Colombia.
Yeah, the country's not a fan of Maduro.
No, and so then these two Green Berets fly in. They meet. It's very, very Tom Clancy. They fly in. They meet some chick named.
It starts as Tom
They
Clancy.
meet some chick that goes by the name of Alex, and she takes him to meet a guy in a wheelchair who wore a lot of gold and drove a really nice SUV, and he seemed to be the money guy behind the training operation in Colombia. According to my Green Beret contacts, these 60 freedom fighters were all starving, like completely underfunded training operation. And so, according to the Venezuelan ousted president and his representatives, Rendon, the relationship with Jordan and Silvercore fell apart in January, pretty hardcore. Like literally, they saw some things they didn't like. They got into a heated argument. They asked for
such as airsoft rifles and CB radios.
They asked for their $1.5 million back.
I don't blame them.
He gave them $50K in good faith. Like, here you go. Here's some money. And then they said the mission. They thought the mission was off. Okay. Well, then President Trump goes out and signs a $15 million bounty on the head of Maduro.
Shit is back on.
And Jordan's like, we're back on. We're doing it. And so plan is in effect. They're going to do it, and they did it. Well, they didn't really do it, but they did something. Man, you can't make this shit up. This would not be a Tom Clancy movie. This would not be
lesser-known cousin.
This would not be a Jack
Clancy.
Yeah, Jim Clancy, and instead of Jack Ryan, it'd be like Doug, Luke and Doug. This is a fucking comedy. And now I feel bad for these two dudes, who are now in custody, spilling their guts about their operation and their affiliations. The U.S. government has said we had no idea. However, they're going to Pompeo says that they're going to use all. What are they? I'm trying to remember the exact quote. All means necessary to get these two guys back.
Yeah.
So that begins with diplomacy, which we don't have any diplomacy with Venezuela, right?
Also, just throwing a tip out there for anybody else who's inspired to do something like this. Never claim to be special forces, never have, never will, but I have a basic understanding of things. If you are doing an op like this, you may want to do it sterile and not with your Silver Corp ID card.
And your passports, your U.S. fucking passports.
Oh, no, not just that. And your VA ID card. You may want to leave that shit at home for, in case this exact situation happens. That really blew my mind.
Or at least put it in your prison pocket so it takes them a couple days to find it.
Yeah. They showed it all bagged up, laying on the table. There's passports, there's his Silver Core ID, and there's his VA card. Probably
the coolest thing that I saw out of this operation was the two gun trucks that Silver Core had at their safe house in Caracas, which they obviously never made it to. Now, these could obviously be planted also by the Venezuelan military to make it look like a bigger deal than it was. But
yeah.
But there was two Toyota 4Runners or whatever pickup trucks in matte gray with 240 Bravos mounted on straight technicals, and just the entire bed was full of belted ammo. So if they had made it to those trucks, they might have caused a little bit of a stink, But they
didn't really even make it to the beach.
Yeah. So the real question is, if it was a 60-man assault and 6 were killed and 13 were captured, where's the other 41 dudes?
I'm not a mathematician, but something seems off.
Something seems a little off there. Did they get away?
Are they still running around Venezuela?
Yeah.
Are
Who
they
knows?
Colombia?
Who knows? And then the next question is, what will America do to get these guys back? And if we really wanted this guy out, why wouldn't we just go do it? Well, I guess we really don't want to get into any more international conflicts right now, right in the middle of, the global billionaires, getting ready to put the global, government in place over COVID-19 and whatnot.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. They wouldn't want to fuck with that.
No, it messes things up.
Yeah. What do they call that? Illuminati?
Something like that.
Yeah.
With the one eye and the triangles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard Bill Gates has that tattoo on his schlong.
How? Never mind. Never mind. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, let's talk. Okay, so I have we left anything out? Have we gotten it all on the table?
No, let's see. Failed op, airsoft rifles, unsecured CB radios, boats and hose, VA ID cards. Yep, no, we got it all.
Yeah, they had 7.62 M42 M240Gs and FM MAG machine guns. That was what was on those trucks.
Yep.
A number of AR-15s, M16 style rifles with 100-round Beta C drums. Again, that's how we know this is a complete farce.
Come on.
14 Glock pistols and 1 airsoft pellet gun. Which are
Why? I really want to know the answer to this.
Unencrypted handheld radios, tablet computers, body armor and helmets, and some American and Venezuelan national flag patches. Oh, and one thing we forgot, and each one of them was equipped with a AU-TAC airsoft face mask. It was like a half face mask, made him look like the Joker. It was like a plastic mask where you know the top of your face is open, but the bottom of your face isn't, so you can put goggles on with it. It's got a fanged mouth.
You've got
reminiscent of feudal Japanese samurai armor.
You have to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, I actually saved the Amazon link where we could buy these masks, so they look pretty sick. Hold on. The head bitch in charge is in the room. Come here. No? Oh, she's holding up one of my credit cards saying, "Can I use this? Can I use this?" No.
Bet you wish you were in a Venezuela prison now.
Just kidding. Yeah, you can spend it all. Yeah, you can use that one.
What are you going to do? Say no when we're on a podcast?
No. So, let's see. I think we've pretty much covered what we know to this moment.
Yep.
The meetings were held in a Miami condo back in December. Here's the other thing we didn't talk about. So
they're taking those timeshare meetings to a whole new level. Jesus.
You had to sign before you left.
Yeah.
That's how, or you didn't get any free drinks. So here's how they were going to fund this thing, right?
You can have this 1 week out of the year. You just have to topple this evil dictator in Venezuela.
They got a signed contract, $1.5 million. They gave back $50,000. And then they never got another dime. The whole thing was supposed to be self-funded. It's called piracy, folks. You self-fund the operation and you keep the spoils. And the spoils that they were supposed to keep was $212 million.
That's some bread.
Originally, that $212 million was supposed to be paid out of Venezuelan oil exports from the new government that Silvercorp, installed. But evidently there was also some text messages back and forth between Jordan and those officials or representatives showing pictures of bundles of cash that Maduro had, American dollars, just bundles and bundles, kind of like what you would imagine on, Narcos or something.
That they screenshotted from Google.
Right. Yeah, they watched Narcos, took pictures, and said that was how they were going to get paid. It's basically through the spoils of war. The 2 Americans that are currently being held have admitted that they weren't paid a dime yet.
Damn.
That they were expecting to get $50,000 to $100,000 had the mission been successful. So let me get this straight. You fly your dumbass from America, Austin, Texas, down to Florida, and you meet with Jordan, and you say, "Okay, Jordan, what do you want me to do? You're going to pay me $50,000 to $100,000. Well, first of all, how the fuck do you do that? 50 or 100? It's always going to be 50, right? I was going to make 50 to 100,000. No, you're going to make 50.
Yeah.
So anyway, you agree to make $50,000. In your head, you're thinking about that 100, like, oh, it might happen if I'm a good boy. And then you fly to Colombia in January, and then you make a raid in May. You make a raid in May. So you've been in Colombia for January, February, March, 90 fucking days training Venezuelan dudes in the hot sun for 90 days.
In the jungle.
Then you get in a boat to go fucking do an armed incursion into a country, take a man prisoner who's probably the most protected man on earth, and you're going to do that for 50 grand? What the fuck? And your boss is he's getting 211 million, and you're taking 50, and he's not even coming along for the ride? So, man, I really wish the U.S. military would at least provide some sort of training, like business training, to soldiers as they transfer into the real world.
At least negotiate it a little better, like $250,000 maybe?
Right.
Even then, that'd be stretching it. Like, that's not that great.
Yeah.
At all.
All right, well, we better speed this podcast on because she wants my wallet now.
Damn.
Is this real? Here you go.
She's hiring Silvercorp to replace you.
You know what? I would welcome an invasion of Tactical Shit by Silvercorp. I'm pretty sure we'd be fine.
Yeah, I'm not too worried.
Yeah. By the way, Tactical Shit is the hardest target in St. Louis other than possibly the geospatial facility.
I would say so.
So I think we got it all out. Now let's talk about another major military action in America over this week. Major military action on our soil.
Here we go.
It was supposed to be the showdown at the OK Corral 2020 colorized. But instead, it was a bunch of BOoG boys that gave up their weapons to Meal Team 6.
Yep.
So, where was this at in Texas?
Odessa?
Odessa. Near Odessa in like Ecton County or Ector. And so the Ector County sheriff he looks exactly like the Meal Team 6 guy with the McDonald's and the sling with all the fries and the soda, the big gulp.
About tree fitting.
You know that meme I'm talking about? That's how this sheriff looks. So he finds out that there's a bunch of BOoG boys. Now, what we call BOoG boys, I remember when Boogaloo was funny. Like, I loved the memes. Everything was cool. Now it's getting a bit ridiculous, right?
The internet ruins everything.
So a bunch of dudes wearing fucking floral shirts, boonie hats, floral shirts. One dude had a bump helmet on, had their AR-15s slung, right? Had their pistols, on their belts, and basically full kit, body armor, mag pouches, battle rattle out the ass. And they all met up during the COVID-19 lockdown in this county. It was phase one of the opening of the county, which, by the way, I think this whole lockdown thing, COVID-19 is a real disease.
Absolutely.
A lot of my doctor friends are horrified by it. However, I think it's being completely used by global powers to take your rights away and change the way you see the world and eventually inject something into you. But anyway, I'm not going to go there right now. What I want to talk about is they're opening the county. Phase one did not allow bars to be open. But this pretty little blonde meth head at this bar called Big Daddy Zane's.
It's the bars like that are actually like the best ones.
Big Daddy Zane's. Isn't that the guy that kept the gimp in the basement?
That's Zeke.
It was Zed.
Zed, yeah.
Zed.
Right, Zed.
Yeah. It was Big Daddy Zane's, not Zed's. But they might have had you know what? You know how I know they didn't have a gimp in the basement? Because Big Daddy Zane's was a single wide trailer. Like, not even a double wide. It was just a regular fucking trailer. But it was a bar, right? Now, these dudes are all behind the bar, in the parking lot area.
Not in the bar.
Correct, not in the bar. That is important. They're on the property, but not inside the premise.
Yes.
And they're open carrying in peaceful protest of the county lockdown orders and, quote unquote, to protect the woman because she was opening her bar before the county told her it was okay. Like, bars weren't supposed to open yet. So these dudes are like, fuck that shit. We'll come down there and we'll get our guns and we'll wear our floral shirts, and we will protect her constitutional rights.
And they were exercising their first and second.
Absolutely.
100%.
Where I have a problem with this is you're arming up in going somewhere to protect and defend constitutional rights. Moments later, MEAL Team 6 shows up with a fucking MRAP, with a rifleman up in the turret, and two of the fattest fucking cops I've ever seen. And I've seen some fat cops.
No, this was...
Two of the fattest cops I've ever seen, one with a rifle at the ready, pointing at the other guy's ass. The other guy with his Glock. And the state patrol was there, but they kind of hung back and let these county boys do their thing. So these sheriff's deputies move in, aim guns at these guys, demand that they put their hands up, lay down their weapons, and they took them all to jail. And they charged these boys with, get this, felony possession of a firearm on a licensed premise.
Because the bar...
Because in Texas, in that county, it's a felony to have a gun in a bar.
No, I think that's federal. That any establishment that's 51%... Is it state?
Yeah, it's not federal.
Okay.
Yeah,
I always thought it was federal.
No. Might be something to do with open carrying, but this is a state
we
thing.
have that here, too.
Yeah.
Any establishment more than 51% alcohol, you're not supposed to carry. So, like, Applebee's, you're fine. But if you went to, like, a legit bar...
I don't think that's the case in Missouri anymore. I think that law's gone.
I know it was.
I think that law's gone. Because I carry a gun everywhere I go. I don't give a fuck what the sign on the door says, or what the state law says, or what the ordinance says, or the county, or whatever. I have a piece of paper that says I can do what I want, and it's called the Constitution, specifically the Second Amendment in regards to that particular do what I want.
Fucking A, Cotton.
Right.
Fucking A.
So I am in no way advocating violence. No. Violence is a last resort at all times. Diplomacy is always, politics, diplomacy, it's always the way you want to handle things in the beginning. But if you're going to kit up and wear your battle rattle and pretend to be a BOoG boy, by definition, means that you're ready to throw down
Let's get this party started.
With the powers that be, and you can't fucking wait for the throwdown, hoedown to begin. And so you're cosplaying a BOoG boy, and MEAL Team 6 shows up and points fucking rifles in your direction, and you go, whoop.
And at least, I get, no, we're not saying go start machine gunning motherfuckers.
Absolutely not. I mean, I was an ex-cop, so had I been one of those fat cops and you aimed a rifle at me, I probably would have ended you. But
on the other
I'm just saying, why even go and dress like that?
At least put up, not a fight, but at least be like, no, get fucked.
At least Waco it and fucking go inside the bar for 41 days.
Something. Something to
get
make
fucking national news media's attention.
Yeah.
All they got was a vertical phone video put out on, and if it wasn't for Guntraband, the Instagram account, nobody'd even know about this fucking deal.
No. And so there's two sides to this. You're absolutely right. And it was embarrassing. It's like at least, even some videos saying, hey, get fucked. It's my constitutional right. I'm exercising my First and Second Amendment. If you have a problem with this.
I'm not going to point the gun at you, but you got to fucking take it from me. I'm not handing it to you.
Bring an attorney.
Yeah.
Get fucked, I'll see you in court.
Yeah, these guys didn't look like they had attorneys.
Something like that. And I'm sure.
Bail bondsmen, maybe.
And I'm sure they'll have both after this. I'm sure money will be raised for them, and they can fight this in court, and they should.
I'm hoping that Firearms Policy Coalition, at least helps, goes and helps these guys out, file suit against the sheriff or whatever. From what I understand, and I'm no lawyer, but from what I understand, the definition of premise is inside the physical structure.
Yeah, I'm
you can have a gun in the parking lot. You can't have a gun inside the physical license structure. Unless, of course, the parking lot was licensed to sell liquor. I didn't see any tables or chairs or anything like that. But I definitely think that these guys have a legal defense.
Absolutely.
And hopefully somebody helps them with that so it doesn't cost them their hard-earned unemployment to be able to fight this.
And they still...
Notice how I threw the little unemployment thing in there because everybody's making more money on unemployment than they do at their real job because the government's like, hey, free trial of communism.
Yeah. And amazing how many people who even are anti that are still.
It's amazing how you will embrace communism for $600 more per month.
Yeah. That's a whole different podcast.
Yeah, it's a whole different podcast. I believe we are witnessing the death of capitalism.
Sadly. And So I was thinking about this too. I haven't even talked to you about this, but I think, and I don't know if it was done deliberate or what, but I think we're going to start seeing more of this, and sadly, law enforcement's showing its colors, which side of the Constitution they support when it comes to this type of thing. And I think it was fucked up from the beginning, and I think it started with Ferguson, where protests were not done peacefully. And I could be wrong, but I wonder if Ferguson was done correctly and peacefully instead of destroying the entire fucking town, if shit like this would be treated different. But because of Ferguson, or it's giving an excuse to be more aggressive on this, and seeing how that, the one in Virginia where the fucking Charger ran over people, shit like that goes bad if they've come down way more on that. And at what point is enough of this going to happen where they're going to try to change the First Amendment?
Yeah.
And you know what?
Because with the death of capitalism, you'll see the death of everything you know in this country. The first step at destroying the republic is destroying the capitalist economy. It's their playbook.
Yeah. And I mean,
and the next step will be to eliminate, the
First
freedoms.
Amendment, Second Amendment.
And those freedoms are the ones that you will voluntarily give up because there's a disease out there that you have a 0.1% of dying from if you catch it.
Fears how the Patriot Act got enabled.
Yeah.
Here's where...
Or no, it's 0.1% of 1%, I guess, to catch it and die from it.
Yeah.
But still, I'm going to take my chances on that one. I did get my antibody test because I thought I had COVID after SHOT Show, and according to the antibody test, I have not had it yet. So, for what it's worth. Don't cough on me, bro. Speaking of that, I got this really cool fucking mask somewhere. Or no, I didn't bring it in here. We got those Travis Haley masks. They look way better than these stupid fucking things.
Well, that's way more Gucci. It's Woodland.
But
automatically cool factor for being Woodland. But I mean, I wonder, because obviously you can take away all the other parts of the Constitution if they're able to get rid of the first and the second. The whole rest of it goes.
It falls like a stack of dominoes.
But
and then you end up with shit like in Canada where they just ban things. Like there's no way, there's no process whatsoever. There's no due process for you.
Oh,
talk shit, get hit, end up disappearing.
Follow up to that, by the way, you asked a question of people in Canada with existing AR-15s. Mm-hmm. From what it sounds like, you do now have to turn those in.
Okay, so that was in our podcast yesterday talking about Trudeau. Maybe Silvercorp should go into Canada and take Trudeau out.
Canada, they might have a little better of a chance.
They probably would have had a better chance.
A little bit.
Yeah. All right, folks. Again, just a caveat in case all my haters are listening, wanting to write things on the front page of the whatever newspaper. I am in no way ever advocating violence against law enforcement or violence against authorities or anything like that, unless at such time revolution is necessary to protect the Constitution of the United States. I do not think that time is here, but I think if we don't do everything in our power politically, as voters, as Americans, and use our voices, use our pens. If we don't, it's going to be our kids, or it's not that far down the road when America is going to be just another country in this world, like all these other shitholes.
It's frightening, and these guys gave up quick, yes, but I'm encouraging everyone right now: do more of this shit. Don't fucking stand for this stuff.
Do more of it. Don't get violent. It doesn't need to turn into the OK Corral.
But don't be a bitch.
But yeah, don't be a bitch. If you're going to go out there and take a stand, then take a stand. You know? Anyway, that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow. 3 podcasts in a row.
Wow.
Tomorrow we're going to be talking. I'm going to have a guest host. It's going to be Kevin Dixie, KD, from KD No Other Choice Firearms. KD, you've seen him on the podcast before. He's a black guy.
Love Kevin.
Yeah, and he is big about empowering the African American Second Amendment teaching the African Americans about their legal rights to gun ownership to protect themselves against the illegal gun owning factors and toting factors within their communities. And Kevin's little pissed off right now, and very, very understandably so, about this shooting in Georgia that happened in February, where a father and a son. The father was an ex-police sheriff's. I think he was the sheriff. Whatever constable, whatever the town was, and he was also a district attorney. Okay, so they see a black man jogging down the street, and they think he might have committed a crime. So they essentially grab a shotgun and a .357 Magnum, chase him down in a pickup truck, set up a roadblock, and kill him. And here's the kicker: did not get charged. No charges have been filed. This was February. Now, why are we just now talking about this? Because a video came out yesterday that was shot by a neighbor that shows the whole thing go down.
Fucked.
And it is fucking disturbing.
Yeah, don't want to dive into that too much tomorrow, but I saw that and I was fucking pissed.
Anyway, tune in tomorrow to hear Kevin Dixie tell us what really happened in Georgia. And, man, where's that going to go? They evidently want to protest down there, but they can't because of the stay-at-home orders.
Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
anyway.
again, taking away their First Amendment right to protest a brutal, obviously negligent homicide, murder, whatever, and they can't even protest it because of the stay-at-home orders. That's unconstitutional.
Peacefully assemble and protest. Keep it peacefully. No one can tell you to leave. They can tell them to get fucked.
I thought Georgia had opened up, didn't they?
I think it's like everything. They're still doing social.
We'll find out more by
distancing and all
tomorrow.
that shit.
Thanks for listening to the Bay of Fucktards, episode 41. We'll be back with 42 tomorrow. See you guys.
Deuces.